What is up there everyone, it's the guy with the gamer tag here, and today I want to talk about spawn trapping and base raping and whether they're actually cheap or whether there's some times where actually it's just the way you're playing and the other team is just getting steamrolled. Now there are of course going to be two things. You've got spawn killing, which I interpret as you running into the enemy spawn, you're playing aggressively, the enemies happen to be spawning there, you're running in and killing them because they aren't able to react. And in some ways I would say that isn't quite your fault, that's some way more of a game issue, but at the same time if the enemies aren't reacting and they aren't trying to push out of their spawn, you could also put it on them that actually they aren't doing enough to try and get out of their base, so maybe they kind of half deserve it because they aren't actually trying to play aggressively enough. But then there is also spawn trapping, where literally you spawn and then someone peeks their head around a corner and they kill you instantly, and then you spawn again and you get killed instantly again. And what I want to talk about is whether these are actually cheap methods or whether it's on you. Now I always personally hate spawn trapping, I can't stand it, I don't see how it's fun. And also with base raping, I don't see how it is fun to just wait for an enemy to spawn and just kill them straight away. It's not fun for the person you're killing, and I always personally find it quite boring. That's one of the things, despite me liking Operation Metro and Battlefield 3, I really didn't like spawn trap situations because it was basically you had 16 people fighting over one kill. It was literally like being the seagulls in Finding Nemo. Everyone was just like mine, mine, mine every time there was one enemy just peeking their head around a corner. And it just wasn't really that fun. It was a bit goofy for a while, and it was kind of entertaining for a couple of minutes, but then it's just sort of like, yeah, this is getting a bit boring now. And I don't get where the challenge comes from. That's something I always like in gaming, is a little bit of a challenge, and spawn trapping just doesn't do that for me. Now, you may have noticed in the gameplay in the background, it's some CTF and Advanced Warfare. Now first things first, this gameplay is old. I got this like around Christmas time. And you can probably tell that simply because the fact that in this gameplay I was playing Advanced Warfare, and also I was using the bow, which I have not touched. Now it's down to the noob cannon, the S12 with gung ho. People hate it when I use that. But my intention in this game was just run around, just kill people. And I wasn't until I submitted it to Jay Loco's channel for a hipfire commentary that he actually pointed out that I was spawn killing the crap out of the enemy team. And I hadn't realised it. As far as I was concerned in the game, I was like, yeah, I'm going ham, I'm killing all these kids and everything. And I didn't realise, actually, I was spawn killing quite a lot. I was just running into their spawn. Now, I'm not someone who tries to slay and ignore the objective. It was more the fact that when I got to their base, one of my teammates had already grabbed the flag, so I just had to run around and kill people. I generally do like to play the objective, but in this instance, I was just playing aggressively, and they were spawning around me because I was in their base. Now, some ways this could be seen as cheap. I personally think that this was a case of I was playing aggressively. Also, it's the fact that I was doing it, so of course there's nothing wrong with it. But I was just playing aggressively and they were spawning there and I was killing them because they mostly weren't moving. Generally, they were just sitting in corners or buildings and I was killing them because they weren't moving. Now, I personally see that as kind of fair play. They decided not to move and I killed them, and that's kind of their problem. If they didn't like it, maybe they should have moved and not been there for me to be able to kill them. But at the same time, some people might see it as, well, in fairness, you've gone into their base, and if your team is absolutely steamrolling them, they're not really going to want to go anywhere because they're probably just getting killed no matter where they go. Now, in some ways you can just see it's kind of a two-edged sword, because in one end it's a case of, yeah, well, I'm playing aggressively, I'm killing them, I must be doing better than them in this case. And if they're constantly getting killed, then maybe if they tried more to improve their skill as a player, then maybe they'd avoid these situations. But then you've also got to take into account you've got connection and actually your teammates, because even you can have the best player in the world, but they cannot carry a team of random thumbless Joes, because it just won't happen. But I just want to see what you guys think, because I personally am not a fan of spawn trapping. I can take spawn killing as long as it's because someone is playing aggressively and not because someone is waiting for you to spawn and killing you as soon as you run out around the corner. That is where I draw the line and say it's completely cheap and I cannot stand it. I do hope you enjoyed the gameplay in the background. It is still one of my best scores in Advanced Warfare, going 29-2 in CTF. I was pretty happy and stoked with this at the time, but it's kind of worn off because it is a very old gameplay. But anyway, this has been the guy with no gamer tag, and I'll see you on another video.